Benjies, welcome to the BingeWorthy podcast, part of the Geekish Network. My name is Johnny Randolph, or you can just call me Randy, and we got a dope-ass crew here tonight. My first co-host is Miss Courtney Scott, right? Courtney, say what's up to the people.
Hello, hello.
And my next co-host is, you know him as Nuke from the Ville, Diamond Mine, Rakai. Yo, say what's up to the people, sir.
Hello, Governor.
And falling in cleanup. Yo, Chuck, people know who you are.
What it do, people? What it do?
Good stuff. And we are the Binge-Worthy Podcast. If you are in the chat, please feel free to drop a few lines in there throughout our show, and we will be sure to respond back to you. Today, we are going to be talking Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Now, what we're going to do at the beginning of our show is we rate it using our binge-worthy scale, and then we engage in conversation, and we come back and re-rate it. So none of us have seen what each other have rated the show. I'm going to right now call on my technical director, Rodney. How did the binge-worthy crew rate Mr. and Mrs. Smith? All right, so what we got? We got two. Oh, we got it. Okay. I like it. We got 3 full meals. That's 12. And then we got a cringeworthy. All right. Interesting. So that's going to give us a total of 3.25. So that makes Mr. and Mrs. Smith a mini meal. All right, let's do it. Let's talk about this. All right, the series, it was released in full on February 2nd, 2024. The premise is 2 strangers land jobs with a spy agency that offers them a life of espionage, wealth, and travel. They catch new identities in an arranged marriage. All right, so let's talk about this series. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I do want to address that it is the same title from a widely large, successful movie back in the early 2000s with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. It was highly successful, commercialized. It rumored to spark the decline of Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston's marriage, and it even kicked off Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. So with that being said, let's talk just a little bit. Just throwing a question out there to whoever wants to take the mic first, and feel free to weigh in. Did this series establish itself from its predecessor, the movie with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie? So just open to anybody. How do you all feel? Was this series enough to establish its own identity away from the hugely successful movie?
I think it was able to establish its own identity away from the movie versus being with the movie itself. Rumor is it's based on like the novels the guy wrote about Mr. and Mrs. Smith that said he was plagiarized and they had to pay out for the movie, Mr. and Miss Smith. So I thought this established itself away from the movie. When I went into this, I didn't expect it to be like the movie. The movie to me was okay. It was pretty people beating up on each other.
And it was very pretty people, because Angelina
Mm-hmm.
was at the height of her sexiness, and Brad is
the height of his sexiness too.
man.
Yep.
So yeah, it definitely was. It was pretty people on screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Action pace, guns, all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think? Courtney, what about you? Did you think it established itself away from the identity of the movie?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was definitely it was its own thing. And it it didn't try to be the movie in any way, shape, or form. It was only the title that was the same, with the exception of, like the very in part of the season. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the series then. I thought the big thing about the series was the writing. I too agree that it did establish itself away from the series. I thought it took steps, especially in the pilot episode, to establish its own identity away from the series. But I'm going to start with you, Rakai, the writing. What did you think about the quality of the writing for this season?
Um, I think I think what we were just saying just a second ago, I think the hardest thing to do about this series is to wrap your head around what this was and completely divorce yourself from the idea of the movie. Because if you go in with a preconceived notion of that you're getting an romantic comedy with violence, pretty people shooting and beating each other up, and you get to this, you can be like, what the hell is this? Um, this was a relationship expose that had some violence in it. This was an expose on the everyday machinations of a relationship, and how people deal with that relationship, especially in a highly stressful situation. Like, hey, I don't know, maybe we're both assassins. That's wild. Uh, I thought the writing was very Donald Glover. You know what I'm saying? Like the writing style, it fit and it sounded like Francesca Sloane. It sounded like Stephen Glover. It sounded like Donald Glover. It sounded like a a an extension of what we saw in Atlanta in a way. The dialogue wasn't as zippy or as you didn't have really that character that delivered like one-liners and got, little humorous bits. There was very little humor in this. And this really was an examination of how they got along together or didn't get along together based on what it was they did. So the writing was hard to get into at first, but as it developed and as their character started to develop, it got easier to swallow.
Okay. What about you, Courtney? You are a writer. How was the writing for you for this season?
Um, so I mean, I agree with Rakai in the sense that it was very Donald Glover. Um, for me, it was really it wasn't so much that I was expecting it to be Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I knew from the very first trailer that it was not going to be the Mr. and Mrs. Smith from the movie. I think I knew that when Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who was originally supposed to play Mrs. Smith, dropped out because it wasn't going to be the remake of the movie. I'm not, and I don't know for sure that that's why she, parted ways from the project. But I had a suspicion that it was going to be its own thing. I just knew that it's not really my personal cup of tea of writing because it is that slice of life, just kind of the mundane things that people have happening to them or getting to know, or just like the slow pacing of that style. And it reminds me in a lot of ways of kind of like a spy version of like The Office without the breaking the fourth wall. It's very much of like this stylized way of just kind of things happen. This is happening to them, and we're just reality TV style. And that's, for me, it breaks the world of the fantasy. I like the idea of my action and my fantasy and comedy to actually be funny, whether it's like traditional comedy, whether it's rooted in just the mundane, the crazy, silly situations that happen. And that aspect of it didn't really come into it until later on in the season. So for me, the writing, and I freely acknowledge that I wasn't the audience, but the writing style for me was very slow and it kind of meandered a bit. Like I didn't really know what was going on, and not just because of I have an affinity and a love for the original movie version of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, just because I just couldn't focus on what's happening. That's really, I just kept saying, what's happening?
Okay. I know thing. Chuck, what about you, man? Did you have any plot points that stood out to you being good or bad?
Yes. I think episode 6 was work of art, right? It was them actually talking to a marriage counselor about their relationship and how they talked around their relationship and how they talked about their relationship and their jobs and how they get along with each other, things that were said between them. It shows it illustrated the passage of time and how they are so different but work really well together at certain times. And there was a couple of like shocks in that relationship, right? Like when he was up there and he was in the poker room in the gambling house, and he was talking to the guys and how that whole situation fell out. For example, it was like that was tantamount to what the relationship was. He takes his time with things. He's slow. He's methodical. He like meditates over things. He connects with people. And her, she's a sociopath. So she's like, nah, we gotta get this job done and get it over with. And so it was really interesting to see that was a major plot point. And you see these characters being who they really are and how a couple like this can come together and how their relationship can be strained the whole entire time throughout the whole entire relationship. And the fact
Mm,
they had to work together and live together and they've had traumatic experiences together that can actually just, I mean, make everything heightened in their relationship.
okay. Raquel, what about you, man? Were there any episodes that stood out for you, bad or good?
I would say the same. I did think that episode 6 uh was an absolute piece of art. The one thing that I noticed about this, and I said episode 1 and 2 just about did me in. It just about lost me. I could not. The way they were establishing the characters, like neither one of them were really likable. Like the writing, just lack of action. I was like, what the hell is this? Um, and then it started to pick up around episode 3. We got to the halfway point of episode 4. And then I started to see where this was going and I understood what it was that we had. Because I guess it took them 2 episodes for me to be like, okay, this is clearly not my Mr. and Ms. Smith. This is somebody else's Mr. and Ms. Smith. I don't know who they are. Then Mr. and Mrs. Carter or some shit. I don't know who they are. But by the time I understood what we were getting and why this was different than the movie, I got it. And we all got to ride shotgun. Here's the thing. In the movie is wonderful because for one, the whole world of being an assassin, a spy, James Bond shit, that is not relatable to us. I don't know nothing about that. If you ever even thought about being a spy, I don't know nothing about being a spy because I would be self-anxious the entire time, be like, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I do the wrong thing? I'm gonna mess up and get my ass killed out here in the middle of Ghana or Madagascar or some effed up place where I can't get home. Ain't nobody gonna know what that happened to me because the country done disavowed my stupid ass. Nope, don't like it. And then, to connect with Angelina and Brad, they so goddamn beautiful. Uh, Normal
Yeah,
people ain't like that.
No,
not
we
at all.
can't. We
Not at
I
can't.
all.
I
Oh
barely know
man.
any people that's got goddamn pretty. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I done seen them a couple times. Like, god damn, you know what I'm saying? I don't know them, you know.
Hilarious.
But but
Oh man.
Donald Glover and Maya Erskine, I think I seen them at Whole Foods last week. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, see him everywhere. See him
you know what I'm
everywhere.
saying? Yeah, I saw
Behind
them at
them
the
little bitty
library.
pants.
Like, yeah. So, him and them baby shorts, I just can't. Just
And
my
the
God,
shirt
dude.
off
Why
in
you
the first
hating? Why you hating on
Nah,
Sugar
oh,
I
Daddy
mean, him just
shorts?
walking with the
the wife beater and no shirts on his.
yeah.
no,
See, I
I
mean,
mean no
got
white
it.
beater at all, but just like when he was at the farmer's
He
market and the
he got
shirt
it
was open
open
all the
down
way
to
to
his
his
navel.
navel.
Yeah, I was like,
But
Yeah.
who
okay,
does
I
that?
will say that if Rakai said that he was riding shotgun, I was riding hostage. I was a hostage. But I will say that for the standout episode, it was like the first 10 minutes of episode 7 with Michaela Cole. That was Michaela Cole, right?
That was good.
Yeah, that was Michaela
Yes,
Cole.
it was.
Yes.
That was good.
She caught my life. Like, I was invested in her. Like, I wanted more of her. I wanted to know who she was, who she worked for. Like, just everything about her was electric. That episode up until like she left him the postcard, like, bitch. You know what I mean? She wasn't even in the episode anymore, and she was still clowning and was like exciting. And if she had been my Mrs. Smith for like the whole season, I think I would have signed up for Black Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They should have been Mr. and Mrs. Black. That's what they should have been. But I really enjoyed her, and I enjoyed Denise, his mother. The scene with her and Jane was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a really good scene.
There was.
Like, 'cause that was his real mother in real life, at least
That's his real mother?
That's his real mother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her name is Glover.
Yeah, that's his mother.
Yeah, no, that's
Glover.
her.
Like
That's his real mother.
Michaela Cole her name was Bev in it, and that's his mother's name.
Yeah.
And that's his mother's name, and he had his real mother in that episode.
Now, the thing about I think, and I was saying about riding shotgun. I think the thing about Donald Glover and Maya Erskine in this is that they're both relatable. You can relate to them. Like I said, they look like people that you've seen before, you may have hung out with. You can, when they're talking about their problems and they're going through all these different things, these problems of working together and living together, you can relate to that, the relationship. You can relate to shit he says, he does, shit that she does and she says. Not so much the spy shit, you can relate to the relationship shit of it. They just happen to have these crazy ass jobs where they go on, they get dropped off in the jungle by this damn couple who, why they didn't have their antennas on and know that they being, being
profiled, literally
the whole time. Yeah, they're being scouted the whole time. Like, what? The scene with Michaela Cole was fantastic, and it threw me for a loop when Donald and her start fighting. It's like, wait, she's not his girlfriend? What the hell's going on? That shit was incredible. And it was so good that we went on a chase of her and spent another 20 minutes looking for her with the tension that she was still in scene, but you didn't even see her. We was following a tracker. You didn't even see her. And she still got the best of them. So it's almost like she extended her scene for 20 minutes and she wasn't even in it.
Wasn't even in it.
But isn't that kind of a quality to the writing of the show?
Yeah.
That one episode.
Yeah, I mean, yes,
for me.
it was a quality to the writing, but it was also a quality of her performance. Her performance was like me, I do not, and this is just me personally, I do not find Michaela Cole visually pleasing, I guess.
That's fair.
However, there was something about her in that scene
that
changed my mind on that.
She was magic.
Something about her, the way that she acted, the way that even she looked in that scene. I was like, I saw her in a new light for the first time. I'm like,
in her eyes, in her body language, the way she moved, she was alive. And that for me, Maya Erskine was not alive for me. And maybe it's the reality aspect of like I said, the mundane, the everyday reality moments of their relationship and the ins and outs and the basicness of it. I didn't care about her at all. I did care about Donald Glover towards the end. Like, I cared more about, I was connected to him, but I cared more about the cat and his mom than I did about Jane. But that's me. I wasn't drawn in.
I would agree with you 100%, but I think that was on purpose. The whole thing about being a spy, especially the kind of spies they're in, is they're supposed to blend in. They're not supposed to stick out. I don't give a shit what you say. Brad Pitt walk into a room, all the air just left the room. everybody gonna notice his ass.
Yep.
Angelina walk in, everybody notices her ass. I don't give a shit what you say. Maya, I would never notice. She could be standing in my face, probably butt naked, and I'd be like, shit, is somebody turn the,
But
give us half a towel. I wouldn't notice her monkey ass. And the whole thing where it came out at the end that how she got released from the CIA and she really was a goddamn sociopath. That was
yeah,
like that was almost damn perfect casting, or the
character.
way that she played it. The way that she
Mhm.
played the character was absolute. That made so much damn
Yeah.
sense. I
Yeah,
was like,
like
yeah, she pushes people away, and that's why she want to go high risk and all that shit, and all the trauma bonding that they went through and all this shit in her background. I was like, that makes perfect damn sense.
Well, I mean,
We cared about Donald Glover because that's the kind of character he had. He was very outgoing. He was charismatic. He changed himself when he was in a room, or like one of her gripes was he changed himself around the people that he was around. Hell, he made, friends that, they in the middle of a damn mission. To even sometimes his idiotic self made friends with people while they on a mission, and hey, the old couple, and hey, let's go hang out later and do karaoke. Shut the hell up. Get away from
and
me. I got a
I
gun.
mean, that
This shit
and
is
and
crazy.
and
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and his mother called that out. She says he turns into what people need or want at that time when he feels unsafe. When he feels unsafe, and she's on the
But
other side of that.
that sounds like people I know too, though.
Yeah, but she turned into somebody else, right? Like she turned into I I push everything away when I'm not safe. And that means I kill it. I kill it. I kill it. Because the only thing she cared about, she was ready to go hammer him down quick once Max got killed, and she thought he killed Max.
But that was the only
That's
emotional
that's the only thing she
thing
had.
she had with anybody
Because
we
she
saw
talked
throughout the
about her
series.
father, right? She talked
Yeah.
about her father. She said, "My father hated that I was alive. This is a Japanese father who disowned her for not being full blood." We saw this in Blue Eye Samurai.
And when she
And
said at
she
the
is
end,
the voice of the Blue
he
Eyed
said, that's,
Samurai too.
yeah. And when she said at the end, he said, no, you're just Japanese. That's not.
Yeah, she said it hurts me when you call me white. He says, I know. He
That's
knew.
mean. That was
He
mean.
knew. He knew that. That's the thing. I know that thing
Yeah.
bothers you.
That's her trigger. That's a trigger for her.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense that she's the voice of Blue Eye Samurai.
Yeah.
But the entertaining, but the character, the way she's drawn,
Yeah.
it seems to have gives life to her voice.
Yes.
And so
It
without
did.
someone drawing her and give life to her, I just didn't. And there have been plenty of films with sociopaths that are not like electric or I mean freaking You. That dude in You is annoying as fuck, but Penn Badgley kills it. He is the reason that I show up for that show. And
he's a sexy psychopath. He's a psychopath.
Yeah, he's
okay.
Christian Bateman.
Yeah. He's sexy. Norman
He's
Bates.
not
Patrick
sexy to
Bateman.
me. There's nothing sexy about that
But
man. To
he's
me.
a sexy version
But
that you put on screen. This makes psychopaths look pretty. It's kind of like what's her name, Charlize Theron and Monster, right? They
Patrick
make
Bateman and
yeah,
okay, you want to talk
American.
Charlize Theron
Yeah.
and Monster? You saying she's a sociopath?
psychopath.
Okay, psychopath. Listen, I'm not talking about psychopaths. I'm talking about the kid. There are actors that have played sociopathic roles that are still enigmatic, and they're doing very little. But there was something about her that I just was bored.
Yeah,
I was just bored.
she's a boring person. She's her whole character. Yeah, that's part of how
I
she
think
felt the
her
CIA.
character
Jane.
was supposed to be that way.
Yeah, I
The
thought
actor.
Jane was
It was supposed to be that way. It was supposed to be that way, though. I think because
Yeah,
that's one thing she felt.
She bored me right out of the film.
She failed all her CIA tests. Like they couldn't get a read on her outside her being a psychopath, a sociopath.
yeah.
They couldn't get a read on her at all. I think that's how she was supposed to be.
Now I do
It
agree
was almost like when she explained at the end, it made so much sense of how her character, how she portrayed her character all the episodes before that. I was like, yeah, it makes sense. That's
So
why I couldn't get a read for you. That's why it was very difficult to even find anything remotely likable about her character.
So allegedly Simon Kinberg, he wrote the movie Mr. and Miss Smith, and he wrote it for his senior thesis when he was in school. And he
No.
talked to a lot.
No,
Or do you-
he wrote the draft.
Yes.
He wrote the draft, but Mr. and Miss Smith, the movie, is based on a TV show. That ain't the first rodeo.
Yes. But he wrote the draft, and he actually talked to married couples. And Hollywood was like, "Nah, we're taking all that hardcore relationship shit out. We're taking all that out. This is about action. It's a film about spies that are married. We're gonna make it action packed."
Yeah,
Apparently,
'cause
they actually changed
the
his
first
story.
time when Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the first
Yeah.
iteration of it, it was a USA.
Mhm.
Remember the old USA network? It was
Yeah.
a USA TV show in 1996
Mm-hmm.
featuring Scott Bakula and Maria Bello.
Mm-hmm.
It was only on for one season. And it was basically like, if you can think of how we got to the end of True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Yeah.
you know, at the end they kind of played it into, okay, now she knows that he's a spy. Now they're gonna be like working together. And that was, you know, a premise. You're like, oh, that might be a good sequel movie. Well, they rolled with that, and that became Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, it's like the Secret
TV
Lives
show.
of Mr. and Miss Smith. It's based on a
Yeah.
novel too. It's based on a
Mhm.
novel, other source material. So I
Yeah.
think Donna wanted to beckon to that because Mrs. Smith was the sexy people. They whoever got that in Hollywood was like, we casted these sexy motherfuckers. We're gonna have them fight each other and blow up shit like a Michael Bay movie, and it worked.
Right. And we can't do that with Donald Glover.
And you can't do it. Yeah,
I
That's-
think you can do that with Donald Glover, but you can't do that with.
That's why
Not Erskine.
Solo was trash, because it was like, he ain't young Billy D. Williams.
He ain't
Well,
Billy
if he
D.
stopped
Williams.
wearing those pants, if he stopped wearing those little baby pants,
Ain't nothing cool about Donald
That's-
Glover.
that's
other
his
than
style.
he
That's-
created.
Ain't
He-
nothing
he-
cool. That's who he
He's,
is.
He didn't
he's,
even
Donald
cast
Glover is
straight out the
handsome.
70s.
I really
No.
like Donald Glover.
No, he didn't even cast himself as cool in his own TV show.
He
was
didn't.
the
He's
dirty
not the cool
slur
guy.
in Atlanta, right?
In
No,
Atlanta,
I
yeah.
know that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm-
So,
I'm
That-
just telling you guys from a female perspective. I disagree with
I
you
ain't
guys
never
saying
heard
that
no
he's
woman
not
woman
with
as
clothes.
like Donald
Well,
Glover
still
is
alive.
fine. I can't wait to go.
I didn't
see
say he was
that
fine. I
show.
said he was. I said he was good looking.
okay.
But I have heard plenty of women that say that he's handsome.
I've heard
He's
women
got
say
that- he's
that.
got
Is,
that
if they say he's
70s
handsome because
appeal.
he's famous, or is he handsome because he's actually handsome?
I think
'Cause-
I thought he was
'cause-
handsome as Troy.
Because people thought I think Lil Wayne is handsome too, and he looks like a damn Muppet. Girls will tell you up and
He
down
does
all
look like a
day. Lil
Muppet.
Wayne's sexy. He's a Muppet with face tattoos.
He's a rich gremlin.
People said
No, I'm not
Biggie
saying
was
he-
sexy.
I don't,
Hmm?
I don't think
They
he's.
said what?
I just don't
Biggie
think
is
he's
sexy.
Brad Pitt.
He's not
level.
Brad
He's
Pitt.
not Brad
He's
Pitt.
not Brad Pitt.
Or even
He's
in that
not
same
Brad Pitt.
category. Like, I think he played a role as a average dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude.
Transplanted straight out the
Yeah.
70s.
And
Yeah.
He had the Donnie Hathaway haircut and
yeah.
little
he had all
baby
kinds of 70
pants and-
haircuts. Yep.
little baby pants.
Little baby
and
pants and those house shoes, those old Red Fox house shoes.
Yep.
yeah.
He did yoga.
A silk shirt open to his navel. Yeah.
He
he's
was
straight
still
out
he
the
was still
70s.
trying to be Lando Calrissian when he came out with that meditation jacket.
This was
I
damn near
know
a black
people that dress
exploitation
like
show.
him. I know people that dress
Me
like
too.
him.
Yeah,
I do
like
too.
to this day.
He
they
has
do
his
it
own
every day.
style, and it works
Yeah,
for him.
young.
Yeah.
young.
I do
yeah.
too. And every time
Yeah.
I see him, I expect him to be like, right on, brother. You know, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so it's
Got a
it's
big,
interesting.
you know,
So,
fist
then let's
pick
talk-
in your
we're
hair.
talking, we're talking Donald Glover. What's her name? I want to. What's the
Maya Erskine.
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 So they have a look. Now we meet another John and Jane. Would the series have been different, if they were cast, because they're a little more charismatic, a little more outgoing, a little more out there. So, like, what do we
And
think?
prettier.
And prettier.
Mhm.
What do
They
we think
are a
about
prettier
them?
couple.
Lucy Liu as Ling in Ally McBeal. Incredible sociopath. Incredible sociopath. She played. Did anybody watch that?
Did I love
I
that?
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
She was
But I
freaking
like
brilliant.
Lucy Liu though. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
What
think
about the other Jane? And,
but again,
Park-
another pretty person. Lucy Liu. I like Lucy Liu.
Parker Posey and Wagner Moura, I think they would have killed it. They were a pretty couple, and they were very charismatic together.
I don't think I would have wanted to watch a whole
Posey has
season
never
of
really
Parker
been
Posey.
pretty. She's engaging. She's striking.
She
She
is.
is
That's what I'm
always
saying.
striking.
I didn't say she's gorgeous or she looks, but as a couple, they worked. Their chemistry worked
and then
together as a couple.
comparing her to Maya,
Maya,
she's winning
yes.
beauty pageants on
She
that
is.
piece.
Yes.
She is.
Yes.
She is.
Yes.
She is. Hands
Yes.
down.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's nobody's saying she's
Maya can
Holly
be
Berry.
Maya's Miss
Nobody's
Congeniality. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's
It-
calling her.
No.
But I think
She
I'm
might
not
win
saying that.
talent.
you know, Alexander Skarsgård and what's her name? Isa Gonzalez.
Oh,
They were
shit.
pretty.
Oh,
Yeah.
They were
I-
pretty.
hey. Yeah, they
Alexander
started out the show with a
Skarsgård
beautiful
and
couple.
Isa Gonzalez. They started with a pretty couple that rivaled Angelina and Brad. And
Yeah.
they killed them off in the first 5 minutes, though.
But I thought that was important to do that for that.
Yeah.
Because I think they were the ones from the movie. They just couldn't get Brad.
Yeah,
in.
that was for
Yeah.
us. It's like if you think you get in the movie, we
Right.
we
We're
kill
killing
off
it
the
off.
movie.
Yep.
Yeah, we're killing that off, right? And I feel like they had to because there's such a disparity between
Wouldn't
who
it?
Angelina was and who they are.
I think
Wouldn't it have been
I think
dope if
the
they
best
could
thing
get
that they
Angelina and Brad? Well, they can't because the movie
No.
ended in the movie.
nah,
They
ain't got no
can't get
budget
them
like
in the
that.
same room. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But
That
Donald Glover said
divorce
he
is
tried to reach out
it's
to
not
Brad.
going well.
Yeah.
He tried to
Here-
reach out
here-
to Brad, and Brad was like, "Well, you know," he said he did a Brad thing, turning him
Yeah,
down.
and was like, oh yeah, you know, it'll be good.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He
yeah,
said,
that's what
oh
Donald
yeah,
Glover
you know.
said. He was like, he did the most Brad thing in the world, so that's why.
Yeah. Yeah. But save him from
Here's
Mike
the thing.
Tyson.
I think not. For the people who missed it, killing off Brad and Angelina in the first 5 minutes didn't do it. I think the thing that they did the most to really set this apart was introduce us to the idea that there are multiple John and Janes all over the place.
Mhm.
So when our John and Jane, Donald and Maya, met another John and Jane, and they explained to him, like, oh yeah, we met plenty of them. They're all over the place. That changed the whole dynamic for me.
And
Just me personally.
it did the opposite for me because it made me feel like here's our John and Jane are too stupid to realize that they live in a world where they literally get messages from someone named Hi, and you think it is a coincidence that another Jane and John Smith appear at the same farmer's market as you without thinking, what? Without questioning anything. Like it and having them over for dinner. I don't know. That made it seem like they were just dumb. And I didn't appreciate that.
So
we all questioned that shit. We was like,
so we did too. So I went digging on that. And according to Reddit, millennials would actually think that's coincidental. They're in a whole generation. My cousin JJ would think that's kind of coincidental. Like, oh, just have we're in the same job. That's
millennials
cool.
or Gen Z?
Millennials. Like
any
younger
millennial that would say
younger
would
millennials.
Not.
Apparently they do. If
So
Reddit had
Z.
it. No, the younger millennials before the Gen Z, like from lower millennials all the way down, they're ruined. They're ruined. They're not like us. They're not the Pearl generation where you go out and punch people in the mouth. Or you go outside on Wednesday because you're mad at your friend, you just punch them in the mouth. They're not that generation. They're the generation that think everybody just get along and work together.
I don't know. That bothered me, but that was the turning point.
I said this is not
but
real.
Then again, that piece of writing too is clearly not for our generation.
It's not for our generation, apparently. Yeah.
Listen, when he showed his card, when he showed his card, and he was also working for the organization, and hey, what a coincidence! I think I grabbed your juice, and shit.
And it's like
I'd
you
told
took them
Jane,
to the house, showed them all the
pack a bag, we leaving.
Hideouts. Yeah, I was just like, what are they? They're the dumbest spies ever. But I must say that was the turn. The first 2 episodes for me were really slow. And if we hadn't been doing it for BingeWorthy, I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't.
And that's the problem for me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Randy, I cut you off.
The reason I didn't give it a full binge out because I was like, maybe they were setting up the world, but like they needed to execute better. Because if we weren't watching it for this show, I would have been well, I'll come back to this. I
never would have finished it.
You would.
Yeah.
I never would have come back.
Picked up, and by 4, I was like, oh, that turned it around for me.
I'm the only one that wanted to finish it. I love the first 2 episodes.
The only reason I finished it is because of Rakai. Because I messaged Rakai and I said, I am losing it. I'm about to text the group that I am not going to finish this show and I will not be on the show because this is some trash. What in the hell? And Rakai was like, oh, he literally was like, oh, episode 3 is getting, is picking up. Episode 4 is even better. That right there is the only reason I made it through episode 4 in order to be moderately and I was still on the phone my whole time and I was fast forwarding a lot of it. I was fast forwarding a lot of the series. I can honestly say.
I loved it.
I can honestly say.
And then I also told
6,
you
7, and 8 were the only 3 that I kind of watched mostly in their entirety.
And I also told you too, I think early, like episode 3 or episode 4, I text you, I said, completely let go, erase everything about the movie out of your head, because if not, you're not gonna make it. Like,
oh no, I never had one. I would never have. I never planned to watch this show. When Randy said, Chuck said, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is on our list. I said, why? I had no desire or plans to ever watch the show. So I went in knowing that I was like, not knowing that it was going to be different. I expected it to be different. I did not expect it to be very conversational.
And it was.
I did expect that. I guess I went into thinking that because they've always said in their press junkets, this is about the relationship. It's kind of like Seth Rogen talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He said, we're going to focus on them being teenagers. We don't care about the ninja shit. We don't really care about the turtle shit. We don't care about the mutants. We want to focus on them being teenagers. And they're like, we're focused on the relationship here.
And that's why the last movie was excellent, because that was probably the first time, yes, we understand they're mutants. We understand they're turtles, and they're ninjas. But that was the first time where we got to see teenagers.
Them being teenagers. Yeah.
Let's go back. Ever. No rabbit hole. We're gonna stick on Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah. Wait, before we go back to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you're talking about the new Ninja Turtles?
The new movie, yeah.
Yeah. That, and I know, Randy, I'm gonna take 1 minute. I'm gonna take 1 minute, and then I'm gonna let you. I apologize. I'm Kanye Westing right now, and I apologize. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. I'm gonna let you. I went in expecting to hate that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but to their point, Rakai and Chuck, they were actually teenagers, and they were awkward and strange, and I loved it. I loved this reinterpretation, even the way that they did Superfly. So I'm not completely married to everything has to be exactly the same. You're going to reboot it. It doesn't have to be. It can be a brand new Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I just know for me, it is not my cup of tea to have. I get it. It felt like reality TV blending into a scripted television show. And that marriage didn't work for my brain.
That's fair. That's fair. Because I looked at it like this is a fantastical world they're in where houses blow up and people shoot in the middle of the streets. But they grounded it in a real life relationship, like a real life marriage. People that didn't quite have a honeymoon period, that were kind of forced into a marriage, who found a honeymoon period and watch all that shit wash away like a normal marriage.
And each of the
I just wish they had been likable.
Yeah. I don't think they were.
I wanted to root for them. I wanted to root for them, and I at no point in time until the very last, I rooted for Michaela Cole, but at the very end of that episode 8, I rooted for Donald Glover. It was the first time I rooted for him. Because actually, beginning of episode 8, because her whole dude, John Wick is a movie about someone killed their dog. Episode 8 was the same thing.
17 movies about a damn dog.
Right. But it just didn't have this. I was sad about the cat, but her plight, the shit just didn't work for me. But Donald Glover's did.
Yeah.
Hey, when he found that bomb, listen, but I think to the point, while I did begin to really like Donald Glover's character, I also think that they didn't want us to root for them too much because his style and the way he does shows and shit. I don't think that I think he put in a bow and let you think. We heard 3 shots at the end. You can surmise whatever you want to surmise about how that ended. And ain't no season 2, probably. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is probably a wrap.
I
And
watched
if
it.
you get to rooting for him too much, you'll be like, all right, when's season 2 coming out? Nah.
So with season 2, I watched the BBC interview, and they called Francesca. And Francesca, she answered the phone and FaceTime. They were playing stand up. Are you standing up or sitting down game? BBC plays this on the radio station. When you call someone and ask them if they're standing up or sitting down. And Francesca was like, I answered the phone because I thought you said we got renewed. So they are looking for a renewal. That she did say that. And I think you're not supposed to root for them. I think you're supposed to just watch them. Donald does that. Yeah, Donald does that for a lot of his shows. Like when you watch him in Atlanta, you don't really root for him. You don't even root for Paperboy.
I root. And again, like the first season of Atlanta for me has the same kind of brought about the same kind of energy in me as The Bear. And I had so much anxiety because I cared about Donald Glover. I cared about Ern. And I had so much anxiety. I got halfway through season 2 and I was like, I was struggling because I cared so much. And he was pissing me off so much. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't commit to this. This shit is upsetting for me. And yeah, so but it was the writing in that.
Yeah.
That's the type of character here? He likes. We don't, because he keeps doing dumb things. That's why I actually wanted to die at the end. Because I was like, they're not good at this job.
They're not good at it. They're not good at it.
I just didn't think
they turned into Bonnie and Clyde at the end. It would have been annoying. But I did like the ending. I appreciated the ending that it left us in the ambiguous place of we don't know. I liked the vagueness of it. I was like, oh, thank God you didn't just tie this up in a bow.
Yeah. I wanted them gone because they were so bad and they knew the consequences of what they did. I didn't quite understand how they got the 3rd kill and the 3rd fail. And they were
when was the 2nd fail? Was it Michaela Cole?
They didn't show it. They didn't show it.
That was another problem. That was a plot hole. You just
Michaela Cole was the 3rd fail though.
Yeah. Michaela I was fine with them not showing
she was the 3rd fail. So I was like, when did the 2nd fail happen? That was a problem for me.
I was just with the 3rd one.
I'm okay that we didn't see it.
Oh, we're just gonna talk. We're gonna have. I'm like, y'all should have been shitting in y'all pants that y'all had 3 fails. Like, how the hell did we get away from this?
I think they realized they probably couldn't get away from it.
Yeah. So I just feel like they were bad at it. Like, I just felt like they did a lot of bad things for this job, and I was like, yeah, they deserve to die.
She was definitely on the path. Like, I'm willing to kill anybody and do it quick and get it over with. I don't need these people in my life. I don't even like people. I'm willing to kill them all.
Here's the thing that got me, and I didn't think about it when you said it, Randy. But yeah, they deserve to die.
Yeah.
They really did. Because just another thing I just now thought about, it pissed me off. When the other Jane and John walked in their damn house at the end, like, y'all just turned in your 3rd fail. And you know what I'm saying, wait for instructions. You know what it is. You already know what's going on. They just like in your house. Where'd y'all get the key? Like, they walked out there. Like, listen, when I heard somebody, when they in my house unannounced, then got in with the key. Listen, hold on. Let me reload the guns. Like, you know, yeah. What?
But their problem is they were on truth serum. They were on truth serum.
Yeah.
But you know who else? They were all high.
Hey,
they were high.
Stood out for me?
I need some of that still. I need some of that shit. Whatever
Paul
that was.
Dano?
I need that.
Paul Dano, in every single role, he has never let me down. He is a slayer. Like, in every motherfucking, he will steal a scene. Paul Dano is amazing. He was like, it's my Moby Dick.
How that whole thing played out with him, I did not see that coming because I didn't trust his monkey ass.
Nope.
Shit, I thought he was high.
I thought he was too. I said, that's their handler right there.
Yes. Yes.
And he was like, no. He's like, this house, this
Hey.
$25 million house.
I don't even know how you did that.
Yeah.
That mid-credit scenes where he's like, yeah, I'm gonna sell the shit out of this house. Yeah, it's my
Yeah.
Moby Dick.
Yeah, it's my Moby Dick. Yeah, but I thought it was interesting they paired them together because, like they said, like when they talked to Parker and Wagner, the second Mr. and Miss Smith, they're like, he's God, he knows everything, and they're like, he just knows everything. How you know I'd be there at 11:52 and I knew exactly what you were going to order, and I made the order. He told me.
But maybe that, and maybe it won't be Donald and Mayo, but maybe that's going to be the premise of
The
season
next one.
2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like who the hell is Hi or how's the guy? Like, how does he know what he know? Like,
who says
that
hi
can't
is a
be
single
good.
person? Who said hi is an
Who
organization?
says he's a
right?
person?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
AI.
You think he's Mrs. Davis?
That's what
He's not.
he could not. It could be. Yeah.
Could be AI helping him. But we
Yeah.
want to know one thing for certain though, that Hi definitely had that whole entire house rigged with cameras.
Hell
Because
yeah.
when she broke her
Oh, yeah.
computer, and they didn't
And they
think
sent
about
her
that.
a new one. The
Sent a
fact that
brand
they
new one.
didn't look for devices was irritating to me.
Yeah.
I took that
as a matter of fact, that was one of the
threat.
greatest scenes when
I took that as a threat when they sent him the computer. It was like, we're watching you.
I didn't think it was a threat. I think it was like
I took it as a threat too.
I took it as that she still had a job. Like they told her to take out her John or whatever, and she threw the damn computer or whatever. I thought
and
they
that was
was
the
like,
thing.
well, we gonna move on with you. It's his. Like I assumed that their second fail was him failing the second mission, like because they were taking separate missions.
Mm-hmm.
And so to that point, that's what I'm saying. When hers giving the computer, it was like either you kill him or we kill you. It's a threat in the most subtle kind of way.
Yeah.
We know what's going on. He messed up.
And she failed at killing him.
But she screwed up the Michaela Cole deal, just like she screwed up the poker game.
Well, they got
the game was a success.
The poker game was a success.
Yeah, it was a successful mission, apparently.
She just jumped the gun.
She just jumped the gun.
He couldn't handle it anymore when he was
him talking. He's being very friendly with them. Yeah, I think he talked himself into a poker game based on somebody that wasn't there.
Yeah,
to kill all three of them and had a good time.
It's
and
super popular with that.
But that's also a throwback to the movie.
Yeah, and he was so isolated. Him being with her, he was isolated because she's always pushing people away. So any human interaction, he was dying for. I mean, he was with a girl he knew that was a spy and told her everything about himself. Knew she's at the rival corporation.
That's dumb as shit.
Knew she was at the rival corporation. He told Michaela everything. He told Bev everything, knowing that she was a rival and she was his mark. Not once did he ever think she was going to kill him. He said she had opportunity to do and didn't do it. He was willing to risk his own life.
I think she liked him too. I think they were playing each other, and it worked until what's her name showed up.
Maya showed up and was like, "Yo, what you doing with my husband?"
The one thing that Maya did that was funny to me was when they were in the farmer's market, and she's like, "I think that's really brave of you, since she only has one hand." That shit was hilarious.
We talked about that for a while.
Yeah, because that's like,
wait, when did y'all talk? When did this conversation happen?
We watched it on Trey's channel. And we talked about that we talked about that when he's like, did she have one hand? And we were all debating, did she have one hand? I was like, I don't think she has one hand.
How the hell did we miss that?
And I was like, maybe when they were dating, that she had both hands in there. She lost her hand. And it shows that it was like, wow, that's crazy.
It made him start to look at all the old pictures.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be in a relationship with somebody and not know that they only had one hand. That is physically impossible.
Because like he said, their whole relationship was sexual. So
I mean, you would still know if they have one and two hands. But she had a 6-year-old child too. And that was interesting too, because she's like, this is my son. He's 6. And he looked down at the child. The way he looked down at the child, like, whoo, it's not mine. He got curly hair, but he's not mine.
he looked at him like, am I going to end up on Maury?
Let's go ahead and re-rate it.
Get a Maury moment.
Rakan, how you going to re-rate it?
because of the first 2 episodes, I'm gonna stay at a full meal. Like I can't go any higher than that, and that right there is giving. I think it did come along, and then when it hit the second half, the back half, I thought was really good. That first half dragged until it was okay, and then the back half got good to me. So I can't go any higher than a full meal. I just yeah, I can't do it.
Okay. Courtney, how about you, ma'am? How you gonna re-rate it?
Mm,
Insert long pause.
um,
Ronnie, edit
I
this and put
mean,
insert long pause.
I knew she was showing up with snacks. I was like, she either showing up with snacks or nothing. I knew it was going down.
I mean, I
Don't let
like
us
those first few, they were just terrible for me. But the like 7 and like Michaela Cole is honestly the reason that I would go up to a snack. That's the only reason. That episode 7 is the only reason. I'd go up to a snack, but I hated it. I hated it.
You don't have to go to a snack if you hate it.
If you hate
Okay.
it.
As it.
I just
All right, so we're going with cringe. If you hate, that's the definition of cringeworthy is I hate it.
Yes. If you
But
hate
she
it,
didn't
you hated
completely
it.
hate it. That's all she's saying. She didn't completely hate it.
But
So
she did. One
just said I
character for
hated
20
it. She
minutes
said-
is not.
she liked his mom and
Michaela.
Michaela Cole.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day, man. It's fine. It's
I mean,
fine.
it's still right
fine.
twice.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
What do you want to go with, Courtney?
Yeah, it's fine if you want to go to cringeworthy.
yeah. I'm gonna stay.
All right.
All right.
That's fine. I'm with Rikai. I'm going with a full meal for the exact same reason. The first 2 episodes was really slow for me. 3 picked up, by 4th it turned it around, but that's not I can't in good conscience say that's sufficient enough to make it for a binge out. So I'm going to go with a full meal. All right, Chuck, what about you?
I'm keeping that a full meal for different reasons than you and Rakai. Mine's is the ending was too open. I would have liked to have closure to know what happened to them and not let this roll and spank into a renewal to determine what happened to them. I think that Donald should have been bold enough to close it all the way out and let them know if they lived or died or what happened. If one of them lived, another one died, that'd have been great too. So I'm gonna keep it at a full meal for that. My first 2 episodes, I really loved those 2 episodes. They did really good world building for me in those 2 episodes.
Okay. All
They
right.
really did.
Everybody is entitled to their opinion. That's why we
That's right.
So that's going to give us 3.25. Everybody retained their same rating. So that gives Mr. and Mrs. Smith a mini meal. All right. Chuck, got things before we head out, sir?
Oh no, man. Follow me on all socials at Charles Babb, BABB, and subscribe to the Geekish Network.
That's right. Hit that button right there. Rakai, what about you? Got anything to say before we head out?
Just one, which I know that you're going to do it anyway, but I'm going to remind everyone that next week is Valentine's Day. And as much as we would love to be here, we telling you we're going to take the week off so you can spend time with your boo. I ain't got no boo. I'm gonna be with my kids. But anyway, you spending time with your boo. Buy overpriced chocolate and hearts and roses and shit. Be romantical for one day. But we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Follow me at Diamond Mine, Newt from the Ville, all that shit.
That's right. We're giving you all the week off. Let you curl up with your boo thing on Valentine's Day. Miss Courtney's got right. Man, you got anything to say before we head out?
I wasn't involved in the vote to not have Valentine's Day because I don't have a Valentine's Day. It's Single Awareness Day. But I will be going to see Madam Web, whatever the trash is that it is. Chuck, if you would like to join. Yeah.
That does look like trash.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Exactly. I mean, my
Oh.
Valentine's Day is already sucky, so I may as well have a sucky movie.
Oh God.
Oh.
Well, I will be enjoying
I'll think
Single
about it.
Awareness Day as well.
This
so.
may be worth it. I'll think about it. Because Because it's not gonna be Fast and the Furious. We know it's not gonna be that gym. It's not gonna be a gym like Fast and the Furious was.
This guy.
But it may be just as funny, though.
I mean, it could exactly. I
be, it
expect it to
could
be a
be.
train wreck.
It could be a
So
total
it could
train wreck.
be. It could be a
Laugh
fantastic
out
one of
loud
those terrible fun train wrecks.
Yeah, it could be.
I'll wait and stream that train wreck. No.
I'll wait. 20 years later, we're still making Fast and Furious movies.
I got AMC A-list, so
Yeah, me too. So we can go do that. Like whatever. I get 3 movies every week.
Yeah, exactly.
I get 3 movies every week. It don't even matter. I just pick a movie whenever I want to go.
And Courtney, it was my decision not to do one on Valentine's Day. I'm gonna romance my wife on Valentine's Day. It ain't single Saturday.
You better.
All right.
You better, damn it.
I like Casanova up in these joints. And
shoot.
He's
gonna be like Mr. and Mrs. Smith for a relationship.
Right.
They on the couch right now, getting all their sessions recorded.
Yeah, man. I know what to do on Valentine's Day. But shouts out to Digital Click for creating all of our marketing and promotional needs. Shout out to Rodney, our technical director. He's in charge of all of our overlays and switches and things like that. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. Mark, we appreciate you for joining in, even though you said you hadn't watched it. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of guidance. And shouts out to everybody out there. Support the Geekish Network. We are the premier network for BIPOC people, Black, Indigenous people of color. And we've got amazing talent. We've got dope people in front of the camera, behind the camera, business, all of that all together. So please support us. Hit that subscription button, gives us those thumbs up. That's how everybody knows that you enjoy this hotness that we deliver to you every week. We're in the first part of 2024 in the Geekish Network. We're going to release some new shows. BingeWorthy is going to continue to come back stronger, and we're just going to have a great year. So again, please support us. As we said, it's no show next week for Valentine's Day, but when we come back on the 21st, we're going to do, at least tentatively right now, House of Ninjas. So that drops out.
I thought we were doing Percy Jackson.
Doing Percy Jackson.
We're doing Percy Jackson after House of Ninjas. Why would we not do new shows?
We're going to do Percy Jackson
after live. Let's talk about this after live. So come back next week and support us. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Awesome.